Welcome to Haunt Weekly.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jonathan.
I'm Crystal.
And this is Haunt Weekly, a weekly podcast for the haunted attraction entertainment community. Whether you're an actor, owner, or just plain aficionado, we aim to be a podcast for you. And we return to you this week discussing not what we promised.
No.
We're going to have a conversation about what the hell just happened in a second. Because if you want to catch us and call us out on our mess-ups, you've got to pay attention to us on our social media profiles. We mess up a lot. But if you want a chance to call us out to it, take a minute. Follow us at hauntweekly.com or Haunt Weekly on Twitter, Haunt Weekly on Facebook. YouTube.com/Haunt Weekly is our YouTube channel. We're also on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, wherever finer podcasts are sold. And we are here every Sunday at 8 p.m. Central Time, 9 p.m. Eastern, doing the live chat on our Facebook and soon to be other platforms as well. Just haven't gotten around to setting them up. I've got to be honest, it's a little embarrassing.
Do you have to pay for any platforms?
No.
Okay. So it's just distributed.
Yeah, it's just distributed. In fact, since we're using Lightstream, they would handle the distribution, not us.
Yeah.
It wouldn't even be us doing it, which is one of the problems we had when we tried to cross-distribute previously, was we were trying to feed the streams.
Right.
And the internet in the garage, I don't think, could handle it.
Yes.
The internet in the garage
It was crossing streams. It was not good.
And, everything else going on, it just didn't work. So, anyways, I got to say, we're going to get into the question of the week in a second here.
Right.
And I want to first touch on last week's question of the week.
Yeah.
We asked a doozy.
We did. Yeah.
We asked a doozy. We asked, if you're a haunt owner or manager or otherwise in power, do you plan on requiring your actors and staff be vaccinated? And if you're an actor / someone who works at a haunt, would you prefer your haunt do that?
Right.
And we had some good conversation in the chat. Mm-hmm. But things got really interesting on the Wednesday post.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. If you haven't followed us on Facebook and didn't see that, I would go and check it out.
It was a legit. And here's the thing. There were a lot of differing opinions on there. And honestly, I didn't think there was a wrong answer on this. It's October. It's a long goddamn ways away. There's no fucking predicting this. I get it. I wasn't looking to call people out for being stupid or anything like that.
Right.
And no one else was either. Everyone was nice. Everyone was understanding. There was a lot of civilized discussion. No one treaded into anti-vax territory.
No.
No one went full derp.
Yes, so that's good.
That was a danger there.
Yeah.
No one went full derp. Oh boy, I'm bumping a table.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, so it was great. It was just a wonderful conversation. So yes, indeed, if you have not checked us out at Facebook, facebook.com/Haunt Weekly, check us out there and check up that conversation. It was posted Wednesday. And it was just amazing. It was a great dialogue, and I'm very proud of absolutely everyone, regardless of the opinion they projected. Everyone was great.
Yeah.
That's that simple.
Yes.
And the thing, I was going to say this, we talked a lot. We talked 4 episodes worth.
Right.
About nurturing a better, more respectful, and more diverse, more inclusive community. Mm-hmm. I feel like maybe we've done that.
Okay.
Because of the feedback, the diverse set of opinions we got, but still the respect and the inclusion of everyone.
Yeah.
I think we proved that maybe we've done a little bit of that ourselves without even realizing it.
Yeah. I think that, people know we won't tolerate
dumbassery, but
yeah.
but that's just it. If you don't tolerate the dumbassery, the dumbasses don't even come out.
Exactly.
One thing Patrick was talking about?
Yes.
I seem to recall Patrick discussing exactly that point.
So thank you for being good members of the Haunt Weekly community.
Great job. Great conversation. Thank you. That brings us to this week's question of the week, which should be far less divisive.
Yes, hopefully.
We wanted to bring everyone back together. We did so great with the debate. Now we want to bring everyone together.
Yeah.
Crystal, what is this week's question of the week?
What do you want to see in our store?
Yeah. We have not done much with the store, I admit, and part of that is just time and energy it takes to do it. I mean, even doing simple things takes an inordinate amount of time, it feels like. But we also don't really know what you want. We've got several great t-shirt designs. We've sold a few things, but it's not been crazy. And I know that the audience is larger than the store sales indicate. So I want to hear from you all. What do you want in the store? If it's something we can make happen, we will do our best. Or if you think the store is the wrong approach, maybe we need to do, I don't know, if we're going to do any monetization, maybe do a Patreon and do something along those lines. Do you think the store is the wrong approach?
Yeah.
Let us know. Answer the question of the week.
Yeah, basically we can do things like some of my paintings that I do. We could have those printed onto things. Yeah. If people are interested in that.
They do posters, yeah.
And we've got mugs and t-shirts, and they do have a natural color bag. Is that what they call it?
Yeah, they call it natural.
Tote bag.
But it's
we haven't
brown, and you can't get it in color choices.
Yeah, so we haven't done that. But if it's something you're interested in, let us know.
Yeah, so let us know. I mean,
it's a very self-serving question.
If it's something we can do, we will make it happen. How's that? We are at your beck and call on this one. Oh man. So, anyways, that brings us to this week's episode. Which, I'm eating some serious goddamn crow today.
Yeah.
I fucked up in a very unique way for me.
Yeah.
I'm usually very, very good about this. But I managed to fluff this on an epic scale this week.
Right.
If you were following on Facebook.com/HauntWeekly, you saw that we were going to talk about 10 things for the haunt industry to grow.
Yes.
And that's a topic I'm very passionate about. It's something we have talked about a lot. In fact, we talked about it so much, we did it in episode 225, less than a cocking year ago. In fact, there is a Facebook video of it, I believe.
Yeah.
We did it on video chat. Not only that, 8 of the 10 bullet points I had outlined, I had made in that episode. Mm-hmm. And I'd even used the same stock image for the thumbnail.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you had this so mapped out. It was just like it had happened before, because it had.
I cannot believe, less than a year ago. Now, here's the thing. I did check. I will swear unto my dying day, I did check. Either I messed something up when checking. Maybe I made a typo. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't be the first time. Or maybe Google just farted. Mm-hmm. Or maybe it could have been any number of things, really.
Yeah.
I did check. I didn't see it. But as I was doing the research to fill in some of the gaps in my bullet points and expand on things, I saw the episode and realized, yes, my intro, 8 of my 10 points, everything was the same. Mm-hmm. So I started comparing what I had planned and what was going into that episode. And one bullet point was kind of the same, kind of different. I call it different just because it keeps me sounding a little less horrible. I get to say it's better than 8 out of 10 sounds way better than 9 out of 10, you have to admit. Mm-hmm. But one was definitely different. And one was definitely something that had changed in the past year. And that was, I made a comment about escape rooms not necessarily being the magic bean for year-round revenue.
Right. Yeah, and that's something that we talked about a couple of times.
We did not talk about it in that episode.
Yes.
In fact, we were encouraging people to set up escape rooms then.
Right.
That one was completely different. And so and when I was doing research for that, I ran into a fairly recent post on our escape rooms on Reddit. It asked a simple question. Has the escape room bubble burst? And it wasn't super recent. It was a few months ago, but it was recent enough to be relevant. And that got me thinking. We've always cautioned that escape rooms felt like a fad. They had that meteoric rise. And what rises fast often falls fast. And that left me wondering, has that already started to happen? And if so, is the pandemic accelerating it?
Right.
And so I started doing research into that. And I really decided to drill down into what was one bullet point out of 10 that I was going to talk about. I was going to talk about this in brief. But now we're going to make an episode out of it.
Yeah.
Makes sense?
It makes as much sense as the rest of this morning.
Yeah, this morning started with a cat jumping on me. The cats are not allowed in the bedroom.
Right.
Somehow the door didn't get shut. I don't remember who was last in. I could have sworn the door was shut. And I usually check before I go to sleep. I check pretty thoroughly for that because I don't want this to happen. Mm-hmm. So then I woke up at 6:50 this morning because a cat jumped on me and I couldn't get back to sleep.
Yeah.
So my ass got up at 6:50 on a Sunday morning thanks to a cat, and it's been downhill ever since.
Yeah,
just so you know. On that note, everyone, so let's get into the question at hand. Has the escape room bubble burst. Okay, on that end, we need to first start with the brief modern history of escape rooms. We actually talked about this on episode 247, so a lot of this is a restatement, a part of that episode, but it all bears repeating, and we do need some context here to really answer the questions. See, when we focus on these United States, escape rooms really began as video games.
Right.
The first one, and I found this out when we were doing the 247 episode, was a text adventure called Behind Closed Doors that featured an escape from a restroom. Which, I mean, that's one of the things. It's a text adventure. Of course it can be about anything stupid and boring.
Yeah.
Your imagination does the rest. You're doing all the heavy lifting in the text adventure, not the game.
Yeah, exactly.
When it comes to the imagery.
Yeah.
And so, but then Myst really came along and popularized it in 1993. Most gamers I know have at least played a little bit of Myst. Some people did what I did, played like 30 minutes and went, this is bullshit, and played something else. Other people really loved it, and that's fine.
Yeah.
It just wasn't my game. It was so slow. But it hit really big in the late 90s and early 2000s. Basically, this was like the peak of Flash games.
Yeah.
And the term itself, at least as far as us using it, originated from the 2001 game Escape the Room, which I played Escape the Room. I played the hell out of that.
Yeah, we did.
I remember.
On Congregate.
Yeah, it was on Congregate. We played the hell out of that. And we're sitting there like, oh, no, you got to click that. No, we played the hell out of it. And then the first physical game opened in 2003, which, if you think about it, is a pretty bold thing. The term room escape or escape room was just coined, realistically, 2 years prior in a digital environment.
Right.
And you're opening a physical product based upon a digital thing that you now have to explain to everyone unfamiliar with what the digital product is.
Yeah, but, I mean, it worked.
It worked, yeah. I mean, well, we don't know how the first one did, but the concept did.
Yeah. I mean, as we'll get into, the concept took off.
What happened since then was there was a bunch of years of relatively slow growth between 2003 and right around 2013, 2014, 2015 in that area. And then, shoop, to the moon. It went really, really high. And then, well, we're going to talk about what happened next. We'll get to that part. But obviously, the pandemic has had a strong effect on escape rooms. Many escape rooms have been closed. Others have had to pivot to doing virtual-only rooms. There was a great article I read in the New York Times about a escape room owner. I think he was in New Jersey. I'm trying to remember what state he was in, but I think it was New Jersey. And they're like, well, they shut us down. We can't have live people in the room. And, and his staff's like, well, we got to find a way to stay open. And he said, well, what do you want me to do? Strap a GoPro to my forehead and let people tell me what to do? Which turned out to be exactly what he did.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's exactly what he did.
They're like, yes, that sounds awesome.
You do that. Get in there, Dave. I don't think his name was Dave, but get in there, Dave, and put a GoPro on your head.
Yes.
Gotta love the spirit of that, don't you?
Oh.
Especially when they actually sell head cams. But yes, now that the pandemic is hopefully, cross your heart, knock on wood, anything, salt over the shoulder, any other things you want to do. Hopefully now that it's winding down, what does this mean for escape rooms moving forward? Well, it turns out there's two prevailing schools of thought. The first is that the escape room bubble has already burst, and that it will not come roaring back as it was pre-pandemic.
Right.
And the other is that escape rooms will rebound and have as successful, if not a more successful future in the not too distant time. So those are the two prevailing theories. And now we're going to look at the arguments for both, and that'll make up hopefully the bulk of this episode. Now there are a few caveats before we get in. Details from 2020 are hard to find. We're in March of 2021. We're recording this in March of 2021. So statistics from 2020 aren't really out yet.
Right.
And that's true. That would be true even without a pandemic. But I'm sure the pandemic didn't help that.
Yeah. And the chat, we've got Bill Ritchie saying that he's closed down his mobile escape.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Bill. Yeah. I'm sorry to hear that, man.
So there's one.
Well, our sample size says escape. No, hang on.
Yeah, I know.
No, but there's no information we have from 2020, just because the surveys and all that will be out probably come summer or even fall. It's too soon. We're in early March. It's just not going to be there. And that's without a pandemic. With a pandemic, who the hell knows if this information ever will be available?
Right.
It just might not be. So a lot of this is speculation. However, as we're going to find out, I'm putting a lot of focus in this thread about the time between mid to late 2018 and the beginning to mid 2019. All of that's pre-pandemic, and that turned out to be a very interesting time for escape rooms, as we're going to get into. So yeah, basically there's no way to, and also the pandemic is obviously super unprecedented for this industry. It's an industry that is literally 18 years old.
It's unprecedented for life.
Well, it's not unprecedented. There was
us.
There was the pandemic of 1920, and there are some industries that have been around long enough they might be able to make some kind of guesses based upon it.
Okay.
But escape rooms are only 18 years old. But they can't even drink.
No, they can't.
They can barely buy cigarettes.
Yes.
Just realize that escape rooms can't even. They can vote. That's about it. But regardless, they can't get a drink. Jeez Louise. They can't even buy legal pot. So anyways, yeah, escape rooms are only 18 years old. Nothing like this has happened to this industry. And you are correct. It is also unprecedented more broadly, but especially for an industry that's only had 18 years history. Also, a lot of the information that's available is from people trying to pitch escape rooms. Mm-hmm. I.e. escape room enthusiast organizations, escape room manager-owner associations, things like that. People that obviously have a hope for boosting the industry. And, yeah, basically, we don't really want to make a conclusion. I don't think we can make a conclusion. No. But we wanted to present the best arguments that I saw for and against the idea that the escape room bubble has burst. And to that end, let's start with the first half of this, right? Mm-hmm. The escape room bubble has burst. And here's why. Reason A, according to our show notes. Mm-hmm. The market was saturated before the pandemic. Put this thought into your brain for a second. We had just 22 escape rooms active in 2014. Like I said, there was a period of very slow, flat growth where it existed, but really hadn't burst out.
Right. So
from 2003 to 2014, there were maybe a piddling amount. It was barely an industry. But by 2017, there were 2,300.
That's incredible growth over 3 years.
That is bonkers.
Yeah.
By 2019, though, so another 2-ish year window there, mm-hmm. That growth had slowed to just 2,500. Only 200 new ones opened. And this is according to an escape room association, by the way. This is their own stats and metrics.
Right.
So you can see, like, 2014, it started shooting up very rapidly. The number of new rooms opening each year was in the hundreds per quarter. Mm-hmm. And they actually measured this, and they had a very interesting system for measuring it.
Yeah.
Which was they looked at escape rooms, meaning businesses,
right,
that had first reviews online. When did the first review for that business appear?
Okay.
And it gives you it may not get you the exact quarter, but it will probably get you the year.
Yeah, that'll give you pretty close.
Yeah, give you as close as you're going to reasonably get with publicly available information. So I thought that was pretty clever. You look at when the first review for an escape room was published on Yelp, Google, whatever, and then compare that, and then that's roughly when they open. You assume that they're going to get reviews pretty quickly after opening, which is true. Mm-hmm. And you can see this strong curve where it shoots way the hell up. They have hundreds and hundreds opening every quarter, and then it gets real quiet even before the pandemic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we've seen in most big markets are already very saturated. I know in New Orleans we are not want for escape room options.
No.
If you are not like us and have played nearly all of them, mm-hmm. if you're not the true aficionados and have gone through most of them, you are not want for choice. And as a result of that, we've seen escape rooms pushing into more and more rural areas. A while back, we played one in a very rural section of Illinois.
Yeah.
I can't remember what town name it was. If Ellie's watching, Ellie, drop in the chat what the hell that town was we played the Christmas escape room in.
Yeah, that was not a very good escape room.
No, not a very good town. Not a lot going there. Yeah, it's an absolutely insane growth, and to keep that though, they've been pushing the rural and more rural areas, which is difficult because escape rooms do require a fairly large population. you need a fair amount of people. It's like a haunted attraction. You need a fairly large amount of people, ideally like tourists and new people coming through to really sustain it.
Yeah, because I don't know how, you would get... So if you build one in a rural area, being from a rural area, I know that everybody's going to come out and show up.
And it was O'Fallon, Illinois. We were in.
Yeah.
Ellie just dropped it in. Thank you, Ellie.
Yes.
And actually, I appreciate the way you've put it in first. You put it in phonetically. I think that was an autocorrect.
Yeah, it was.
But it was very helpful because it told me how to say it.
Avalon.
No.
No. No, but so you can get all the people in that area out once. But I don't know, especially if the nearby cities have their own escape rooms, how you're going to get the city dwellers out to the rural areas.
Yeah, the magic thing we've always said with haunted attractions has been people will drive from the country to the city. They're used to doing that. They do it all the time. But they're less likely to drive from the city to the country unless you're providing some super rural, unique experience they can't get in the city.
Yeah, which sometimes that does include haunted attractions.
Yeah, and like things like hay rides and fall fests and all that.
Yeah.
So yeah, there are ways, but it's much more difficult. And an escape room is something you can get in a city.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest. So it's going to be very difficult to lure that audience away from the urban cores.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing about the saturation is that it is causing the price per room to really rise. People are spending huge amounts to build rooms because they have to stand out in an increasingly crowded market. They need better detailed sets. They need better puzzles. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They need more and more and more. With a midnight yell, rebel yell, she cried more and more and more. In the midnight hour. But yeah, there's that need to do more, constantly do more, and to stand out. And that's why you're getting wonderful rooms like the Pirates Cove at 13th Gate.
Mm-hmm.
That is one of the most stunning attractions I've been to, full stop. That's escape room, haunted attraction, fair, festival.
You've been to Disney.
I've been to Disney, yeah. That was probably the closest, if not more than even surpassing some of the things at Disney.
Yeah.
It was that good. I'm not even exaggerating. I will. You can, and Dwayne, if you're listening to this and you want to put that on a placard or something and put that on the site, go ahead, man. You got that.
Jonathan says.
Jonathan Bailey from Haunted Weekly says, this was better than a lot of the stuff I've seen from Disney. There you go, Dwayne. Happy to help. Just being honest, though. Really was. It was amazing what went into that. But that was an insanely complicated room to build. It took a lot of time. It took a lot of money. And those costs have to be made up somehow. Number B. Searches for escape rooms peaked late 2018, early 2019. This one's really interesting. You can get there's a tool called, it's not Google Analytics, it's Google search, I forgot the name of it. I thought I put it in here, but I didn't. But regardless, you can see Google search, it's Google Trends. Duh. Duh. Google Trends will tell you how a search term has done over most of the history of Google, basically. I think it'll go all the way back to 2004. It'll go back a ridiculous amount. There was a huge spike for escape rooms in December 2018. For some reason, and I suspect I know why, there was this huge spike in searches for escape rooms. And I think what happened is that was around the time every sitcom on the planet was doing an escape room episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was a period of time there that
I think that was right around it. I've not been able to confirm that. I did multiple searches but couldn't find it. But then again, I searched for, our actual topic today on Haunted Weekly. I didn't find that either. So obviously me searching for it doesn't mean it's not there.
Maybe you've lost your Google Foo.
Maybe my Google Foo's broken, man. Maybe I don't know, man. I need to get my mojo working on that, But yeah, basically, even if you ignore that huge, brief 1-month spike, there was a clear plateau there between late 2018 and early 2019. And then it dropped to previous levels shortly thereafter. And then the pandemic came along and nuked it back to all the way back. You're looking back to like pre-2016, 2015 levels. So right as the spike, the bell curve started going up.
Right. And I'd really like to see which escape rooms remained open, because I bet a lot of the ones put on by haunts are the ones that are still going to be opening.
Yeah.
Because the ones that are in office buildings, they have to pay extra rent and stuff, and I don't see them as quality as the ones put on by haunts.
Yeah.
For the most part.
For the most part. But I also think there are ones like the ones in the French Quarter.
Yeah.
It's a lot of it's going to come down to, do you own or lease the property that the escape room is on? Mm-hmm. And we've said before, there's so much merit in owning the property or partnering with someone who owns the property at the very least.
Right.
Because of exactly stuff like this.
Yeah.
If you can get it without a mortgage, without a bill.
Yeah, you don't have a lot of the overhead.
Yeah. And if something like a pandemic happens, you've got one huge bill you don't have to worry about that everyone else does.
Yeah.
That takes one big, big, big thing off your plate. I mean, I know I could have used not having a mortgage in 2020. Oh, well, say la vie. But basically the point is that interest was already flagging before the pandemic. And now there's been an extended absence. And for many, there's going to be a lack of comfort about being locked in a room with strangers. Escape rooms are just going to be probably one of the last things people are truly comfortable doing. Mm-hmm. And I know that's kind of true for me. I was thinking about that one we did, the Inventors Workshop. The Inventors one.
Oh, yeah.
Where we start out in a room
sardine
that's
can?
like half the size of the room we're filming this in.
Yeah.
It was tiny. It was like a 5x10 room.
There's 6 of us?
And there were 6 or 7 of us in there. We were assholes and elbows in there. And if anyone farted, they were going to get killed.
Yeah.
That's just straight murder at that point.
Right.
So yeah, and I was thinking about that going, God, and we did that pre-pandemic, and we did it with people not from our household. In fact, most of the people in that room were not people in our household.
Not in our household, but they were friends.
Yeah, they were friends, but they were people we knew. We didn't have strangers.
We haven't hung out with them during the pandemic.
Yeah, no, they've not been in our pandemic group.
Right.
Because our pandemic group's just me, you, and Ellie. But no, they weren't in that. But they've been, a lot of them have been on our Zoom call, bi-weekly Zoom calls. So we've been seeing them, but not hanging out physically with them. But yeah, with people, and the theory is strangers could have signed up, and we could have been thrown in with them. We could have been basically, orgies distance from one another until we got out of that room. I mean, it was bad. So yeah, I mean, I don't know how my comfort feels about that. Not very good right now, honestly. So yeah, escape rooms are going to have probably a longer curve than like bars and restaurants and things where you have some distance from strangers. At least some distance, Number C. And there's 5 numbers for each. 5 numbers. Jesus Christ. 5 numbers. I can count to 4.
Apparently not.
Number C. Fewer escape rooms are opening already. This is according to a study by escaperoom.com. 234 escape rooms, and I mentioned that huge spike in openings, right? 234 escape rooms opened in the United States, just the United States, in Q3 of 2016.
Yeah, that's insane.
That is bananas. That is more than 4 in each state. And, some states I don't think can support any.
Right.
I've been to parts of Illinois. I know you can't put an escape room out there. Now, you can do it around, like, the St. Louis and the Chicago area, obviously.
Yeah, you just put in a couple of per big city.
Yeah, I know. But that's just it. If you imagine these were concentrated in more urban areas, that's a lot of escape rooms.
Yeah.
So that's an insane amount of escape rooms. Fast forward to Q3 2019, pre-pandemic. We're not even getting a whiff of coronavirus at this time.
No.
No headlines have dropped. Only 50 opened.
Yeah.
Less than a quarter had already opened. The growth had slowed. And then Q4 of 2019, which some of it you could blame on the initial warnings or concerns about the coronavirus, only 37 rather. So we went from 234 opening in one quarter in 2016 to just 37. Just a little bit over 3 years later.
Yeah.
That's some dramatically slowed growth.
It is.
And apparently, according to the study, the industry was continuing to grow. It goes right up to like February 2020. It was continuing to grow. It was still picking up new escape rooms, and they said it was outpacing closures. But I'm wonky on that. 'Cause I can name I can name several escape rooms that have closed. But they said the industry was still growing in terms of raw places opening. But that growth had gotten very flat. Because you look at the chart, it shot up, like I said, between 2016 and especially between 2014 and 2018, it shot up like a rocket, and then it reached a curve right at the top. And it's like if your brain wants to extrapolate a bell curve right out of it,
Yeah.
because it just looks like half of a bell curve.
Yeah. Yeah. And in the chat right now, we've got Ryan Ruger saying that he's opening up 2 new escape rooms for a restaurant in Carlisle, PA.
That is an interesting idea.
They're going to be Willy Wonka and Houdini themed.
That is really an interesting idea.
I have not been to an escape room in a restaurant, gotta say.
That is. I've been to. I've been to. Blah, blah, blah. I've been to escape rooms in malls. I've been to escape rooms in office buildings.
Yeah.
I've been to escape rooms in laser tag arenas. I've been to escape rooms, of course, in theme parks and haunted attractions. We've been to a lot of escape rooms.
Yeah.
We've been to escape rooms in historic buildings in the French Quarter. We've been to all over the place, but never a restaurant.
Yeah. Yeah, but I guess if I were comfortable enough to sit inside of a restaurant again, I'd be comfortable enough to do an escape room.
And the genius of that is if it's a restaurant that knows it's going to take some time,
right?
It could do like a 15-minute escape room.
Yeah.
Because I think that may be one of the things we have to look at is whether the 60-minute escape room still needs to be the standard.
Yeah. Yeah, and Bill Ritchie's going to be bringing some mini escapes back to his haunt, hopefully, if COVID's over this year.
All right. So, all right. Our sample size has grown. Yes. Intriguing. So yeah, you do look at that bell curve and you're going, well, it looks like a bell curve, and you can't extrapolate future data from that. I know, but your brain really wants to.
Yeah.
So I'm trying hard not to. Okay, number D. Review scores for escape rooms are down. This was really an interesting thing. This was escaperoom.com, once again, the place where they were examining when they got the review. One of the things they do is they study the reviews escape rooms get. The average review for escape rooms across the country had been rising between June 2015 and February 20th, right during that peak growth time, like I said. It went from 4.8 to 4.5, and it's a jaggly line, so this is some guesswork here.
4.85.
4.85, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a jaggly line, and some guesswork here, some extrapolation, but it was definitely on a noticeable upward trend.
Right.
Then, right after that, there was a noticeable downward trend. It reached a peak and it was going down, and it had dropped to 4.7. And that trend was actually accelerating pre-pandemic. By April 20, in fact, the biggest drop was between February. It was done every other month. It was February 2020 and April 2020. Last month they had data.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Some of that may have been pandemic driven in April, but it was still, the downward trend had begun before then. And, okay, yeah, you can look at that and go, yeah, what the hell's a drop between a 4.85 and a 4.7? That's nothing. That's still mostly the vast majority are 5-star reviews. Okay, we're coming back to that point, A. But B is, that means of the people who left reviews, which is not everyone. In fact, one of the things I learned that was interesting was escape rooms have an average review rate of 3.6. So about 3.6% of your customers will leave reviews. I did not know that. I thought it was interesting.
That is.
So it's not going to be every customer. Of the ones that bothered to leave reviews, and most of the times people leave reviews, it's because they have one extreme opinion or the other. They're either happy and want to sing your praises to the world, or they want to dump all over you.
Yeah.
You don't get a lot of meh reviews.
Yeah, it takes a lot for us to leave a public bad review anywhere.
Yeah, and it takes a lot for us to leave a public good review anywhere, too, other than, you know.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, so regardless, something to think, but that score has been trending downward. And the final point is that escape rooms are one and done. There is no reason to replay a room that's win or lose. There's no reason to replay a room. If you want repeat customers, you need to make new rooms. However, that, as we said earlier, making new rooms is getting more and more expensive if you want them to stand out in the crowded market.
Yeah.
They're more expensive to build. In 2017, it was estimated a new room cost between $35,000 and $85,000. And for a lot of the rooms we've been to, that seems low.
I don't know. That number seems pretty big to me, but
Do you really think they did the Pirates Cove one on 85,000?
no. No, but I think they did the one in a shopping center for...
The one we did in the shopping center was done for couch change.
Exactly.
I could scrounge that up. Hang on a second. I think I got I have a couple bills on me now.
No, you don't.
No, I don't know it. I'll never carry anything in my pockets out here.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, if I did have my wallet on me, I could probably pay for it. Regardless, though, yeah, so there's obviously a lot of variance still, but if you want the room to stand out and be a top-tier room and an attraction in this market, that's kind of the direction it's looking. So yeah, the result of this, though, is the problem of repeat customers having nearly the same acquisition cost as new customers, which is a very, very bad deal. Because what's supposed to happen in a business is you pay for a new customer once, and then they become a repeat customer, and then all you've got to do is focus on not losing them.
Right. They bring their friends and all that kind of thing.
But unfortunately, in this business, repeat customers cost almost the exact same.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now let's switch the gears. The reasons the bubble has not burst. Number A. Once again, I've got numbers A through E. Wanted to keep it even.
Yeah, numbers, huh?
Yeah, I know.
I know you're
I
doing
said
it on
what
purpose.
I said. Customer satisfaction is still high. Once again, escaperoom.com, the same study that, by the way, I'm pointing to about the drop, they also pointed that 94% of customers rate their experience as satisfactory or better.
No.
That's pretty high. That's Apple territory.
Yeah, that's good.
Steve Jobs could come out with his, well, not Steve Jobs, he's dead, but Tim Cook could come out and with his nut turtleneck and talk about that kind of customer satisfaction rate.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the total average scores are dropping, but customers are still happy overall, and that is good. The main focus should be on trying to prevent future drops.
Yeah, and hopefully some of the ones that are more fly-by-night decided that it wasn't for them.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and the thing that does hurt me is like that one we went to where the Bookie room, not the one that was at Rise, but the one we went to in St. Louis area. We did another one there, the Bookie Office. That was a guy that was very passionate about escape rooms.
Yeah, he had unique puzzles.
And he had great puzzles and great design.
Yeah, he came up with by himself.
But obviously, he didn't have a lot of money.
Right.
And was just trying to make it work. And he closed. He was one of the escape rooms I know for a fact closed.
Yeah.
As is the one that did the Christmas room.
And both of those closed prior to 2020.
Yeah, that was way before any pandemic-related stuff in both cases. But that one made me sad because he was genuinely passionate and had some great ideas, and I hope he's got a job doing escape room design somewhere else. Yeah. Because he earned it, in my book.
Yeah.
But regardless. So yeah, the main thing is we need to make sure there are no future drops because as with haunted attraction, bad escape rooms hurt all escape rooms.
Exactly.
So that's the focus. Number B. The average value of a single order has jumped, and from it was $113 in 2017 to $135 in 2018. That's almost a 20% jump.
Mm-hmm.
And so that basically means every time you swipe a card, it's worth more money. Or every time you take an online order, it's worth more money. Now, there's no value after 2018, at least not available to me. But yeah, the idea is that even if there is a loss in customers, a steady rise in per customer revenue can offset that. And assuming that trend was continuing through 2019, it seems like that was happening because I did not see any reports in 2019 of per escape room fund revenue being lower.
Right.
So even if you have that declining interest, you have other issues, if per customer revenue goes up, it can offset that. Now there's a limit to how far you can push that, but it seems we may not have hit the limit yet. So that's a good sign. Number C. Escape rooms are still expanding internally. The statistics I tracked earlier were new businesses.
Mm-hmm.
What's been growing is new escape rooms within existing businesses.
Yeah, and I've seen a lot of that at Haunts and at some of the ones downtown too. They've been adding or replacing. Replacing's become a thing that they're doing.
Yeah.
If they don't have room to actually grow out.
Yeah, in 2018, which is the last time this survey was conducted, 80% of escape room owners said they were planning on adding more rooms to their product, meaning they felt business was good, their projections look good. And this, this is 2018. That's an important time because, once again, the drop was late 2018 to early 2019. I'd be curious if they said the same thing in 2019, but they never did a survey in 2019. So I don't know.
Maybe it's an every 2-year survey.
Maybe it is. I don't know. Or maybe they just didn't do it again. Who knows?
No.
But regardless, so yeah, it's interesting, but this was after the growth in new businesses had begun to slow. The tail of the curve had started to bend.
Right.
So new businesses weren't opening up, but still most people with existing businesses were looking to open new rooms.
Yeah, and the trend is to start small with 2 to 3 rooms at first, and then expand as you can and with the demand.
Yeah. And that to me is very, very smart. I think 13th Gate did that.
They did.
They only had 3 rooms, I think, to begin with, and now they're up to like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
And by the way, they were advertising for Game Masters. So, and they all even showed a photo of their Game Master room. And stupid ass me saw the 13th Gate Escape logo on it, and a picture of the room. I'm like, oh, they got a new room based on a computer lab. Oh, that's a neat idea. Oh, wait a minute. I'm a dumbass.
Yeah.
So that was my stupid ass has been on a run lately. So yeah. Number D. There is amazing diversity among the customer base of escape rooms. Like breathtaking. Like haunted attractions wish they had this diversity.
Yeah.
Like basically there is a nearly even split between every age group. Like you do I think you start at like a 12 to 21 and 21 to 35 and all the way around. It's almost dead even.
Yeah, and I'm really happy to see escape rooms include ratings for their rooms, like G-rated for all ages for the family.
Yeah.
And go up from there.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good thing. And also difficulty ratings, too, that have been very helpful. I mean, and the only problem with difficulty ratings is what's difficult to you may not be difficult to me.
Right.
And vice versa.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't find lock puzzles that difficult. Because I have a whole bucket full of locks there I mess with multiple times per week.
Yeah.
Lock puzzles don't frighten me. Frighten a lot of people, though. Regardless. But it's such a beautiful cross-section of the population from an age standpoint. Also, 71 to 82%, there were 2 separate studies on this, and they came up with different numbers, but both very high, said the groups were of mixed gender.
Yeah.
So you had a lot of, men and women on date nights, but also just a lot of families,
Right.
So that means, and that's just it, there was an even split between men and women, almost perfect. There was slightly more women, but there's also slightly more women in the United States.
That makes sense.
So, of course, I think it was like 52% women. It's like, yeah, I think that's actually about exactly the percentage of women in the United States, almost on the nose. So, yeah. It was a perfect split there. Now, unfortunately, there was no data on race. Even places that did surveys targeted at escape room players, no one actually looked at the issue of race and what the race of them were.
Yeah.
And no one looked at a socioeconomic background either. There's some more data to be mined there, I think. But just on the data that we have been able to get, if this were a TV audience, it'd be baller.
Yeah.
Because TV audience is all about the age demographics.
Yeah, and it's hard to target something that reaches all of those demographics.
Oh, it's impossible.
Yeah.
It's functionally impossible. I don't know how, some shows manage to pull it off. But it's just incredible that escape rooms have this diverse. And it's everyone from people on corporate retreats. You got your middle management types, your 40s and 50-year-olds showing up for a corporate retreat, to grandparents bringing their grandbabies and bringing the whole family like we did once with Ellie's family. You've got everything. And so, literally, in that one time we did Ellie's family, I think we had someone from every age between 65 and, 8.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Every age range was, and the 8-year-old was super helpful because she was very, very listening.
Mm-hmm.
And this one had some stuff we had to crawl into or duck underneath. Hey, go, you, go get that.
Yeah. Go see if there's anything in there.
Perfect.
Tiny hands worked.
It's like bringing a trained dog. Go get it. Go get it. No, I'm kidding. She's way smarter than a dog.
Yes.
Anyways. She was wonderful to have in there. I thought she was a real treat, just genuinely. Mm-hmm. And she was perfect. And so excited every time she got to do anything.
Yeah.
Her eyes just lit up. Yeah, none of us can reach that. We're old. We don't get that. Finally, number E. There's a pent-up desire for in-person experiences. Mm-hmm. We're seeing this everywhere. Pandemic life has made people crave tangible experiences. We saw this with the 2020 haunt season.
Yeah.
People are trying to get away from Zoom calls and virtual experiences. Comfort is going to be an issue, but escape rooms are pretty much the perfect visceral in-person experience.
Yeah. And they are year-round.
Yeah.
You know, people think of them year-round.
So if the pandemic lifts and we're all cleared to go do in-person things and be assholes and elbows with people in a tiny room again, escape rooms will be open and ready, I'm sure. They will be there to receive. Haunted attractions and a lot of other seasonal things will not. Mm-hmm. And depending on when it happens, it may not even be like theme parks might not even be fully ready.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so escape rooms are good and bad during the pandemic or coming out of it because one, a lot of them have put in places for like cleaning already.
Yeah.
The ones that have reopened have found ways to keep people safer. And that's something that came out of the discussion last week on the question of the week was that a lot of people are still planning on keeping social distancing, mask usage, and hand sanitizers available to people and in place, even after vaccines are rolled out.
Yeah, I don't want the flu either. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
I don't want the flu. I don't want your cold.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if this is the way to keep everybody safe, and it seems to be, then, you know.
A lot of this stuff I do think should stick around fairly long, especially the more obvious stuff. Like, I'm glad we all know how to wash our hands now.
Yeah, yeah. But, I mean, I was pleasantly surprised to see that people are still thinking about keeping those things in place.
Yeah. And
escape rooms are set up to do that.
Yeah, that's going to be something to discuss and think about and decide on. It's going to be interesting. I don't think this is going to be simply open, close, like flipping a switch. It's going to be, at best, a very slow, gradual change, and everyone's going to have to find their boundaries, and that's going to be both on the business side and on the customer side. All right. So I want to leave with some thoughts for the future on this. Things I think might help escape rooms, based upon the data I saw.
Right.
These are some other points I saw that were interesting. First is invest in private booking. Go more in on private booking. At least make private booking much easier to do. Because right now, only 41% of escape rooms do all private booking.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if we could take our little pandemic family with us, then that might be something we'd consider doing.
Yeah, there are. I mean, yeah, I jokingly said we played all the escape rooms in New Orleans. We have not. We've played a good...
Well, we've played at least one game at each one available.
But there are games, like I want to go back to that one on Decatur Street and play some more there. I had fun there.
Yeah.
We just never... The French Quarter is so much overhead.
Yeah, even without pandemic, it's just...
Non-tourists do not understand how locals feel about the French Quarter. If you do not have a tourist part of your town... You don't know.
Yeah.
It's complicated. I hate going there just because parking and driving in it and getting around it is such a headache.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I love a lot of the things in it. Don't get me wrong, but it's a lot of overhead. And if I'm doing it, it's a day. Yeah,
usually we take a couple of trips a year to just spend a day in the French Quarter.
Yeah, we do tourist days. We'll basically just say, hey, we're going to go and spend the entire day in the French Quarter, day drinking, shopping, whatever, hanging out, seeing the sights, maybe hop in a museum or an art gallery or two.
Yeah.
Just do things. And we have our places we like to hit. I like to hit Lafitte's Blacksmith Shop and Pirates Alley and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But we all have things we like to. Anyways, that's neither here nor there.
No.
Number B. Invest in virtual events. Virtual events allow you to reach a global audience.
Right.
Right now, according to one study, the maximum distance most people will drive for an escape room is 1 hour one way. Which is more than for a haunted house, I would like to add.
Yeah, it is. And it's more than I expected, honestly.
Yeah, I agree with that. It was still more than I expected. But, like looking at it like this, basically we're weird for going to Baton Rouge for haunted house, for escape rooms.
Yeah.
Baton Rouge is 90 minutes from here. And we do that fairly frequently.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, be thinking about ways you can reach audience outside of that circle there. And the virtual events are going to be a key, I think, to that. Find ways to make rooms replayable. This is something I've been thinking about. Alternate puzzle paths. I've never actually designed an escape room. But I've read a lot of documents about designing the puzzle paths and the things in designing escape rooms. I've never actually done it myself, but I've read a lot about it.
And we've played a lot of escape
Played a
rooms.
ton. But it just seems to me there's got to be a way to do alternate puzzle paths. So you can do the A version of a room, the B version of the room, or the C version of the room. Most of the physical stuff is the same, but the puzzles and the order they're solved and how they're solved changes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that would be, really nice to have that
And that
available.
way, because if there was another puzzle I could do with the Pirates Cove one,
Yeah,
I would jump on that in a heartbeat.
exactly.
I'd be there as soon as a pandemic was done. I'd be the first in line. I'd be outside the door knocking on it.
Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I thought about just now is that it would be nice if you could have a virtual element with your people.
Yeah.
So once the pandemic's over and we're able to gather in public with our crafting friends, we still plan on bringing a screen with us to bring our friends from afar.
Yeah.
It would be awesome if I could do that in an escape room, like bring grandma from across the country or something, or my brother.
Buy her a ticket for the
Yeah.
escape room, but have her on a tablet or something.
Exactly.
That's not a bad idea.
Hook her into a camera that's in the room.
Yeah. And have grandma tell you how much of an idiot you are. Rather than just the voice of God. Now you have two people telling you how dumb you're being.
Yeah.
That's great. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so, making the rooms replayable, that also reduces that cost of acquisition per customer I was talking about.
Exactly.
D, raise the success rate. This seemed weird to me. This was a survey by Scott Nicholson. The average completion rate of escape rooms was just 41% in the United States.
Yeah. So, I guess that does push people to go back so that they can beat it.
Which
But
I feel really smart now. Just want to say that. Our escape room, our rate's way higher than that.
Yeah, it is.
I'm feeling really smart right now, if that's the actual average.
Yeah.
But yeah, games need to be challenging and fill the hour, but 41% means 60% of customers are not seeing the whole room and are not walking away with that feeling of victory.
Yeah, and so I think that there's a delicate balance between making a game playable and winnable
Yeah.
and trying to outsmart your customers.
Yeah. I've been in escape rooms that clearly were trying to outsmart their customers. Well, they'll never figure this out. Ah, twirl the mustache.
Mm-hmm.
You're also terrible dungeon masters, all of you.
Mm-hmm.
Never play D&D if that's your attitude. Please. So yeah, the rate is 41%. Sorry, that's the global rate, not the national one. But the U.S. one was right in there too. That sounds low. Like I said, that data came from one study. But yeah, the focus has got to be on trying to give people that win.
Yeah.
But making it challenging enough that it feels like they're. It's like a video game. You want people to beat the video game, but you want people to get a full experience on the way to winning it. And then feel like they accomplish something when they do. And number E, wrapping it up, focus on team building, exercises, and families. Why? These are two large groups that will already be in physical contact with one another post-pandemic. Once people go back to offices, God help us all, because we're all feral now. But this ties into the first point. If people are going to be uncomfortable being with strangers, which is why private booking is a thing, marketing to families and office group, team building groups makes a ton of sense. Because here you can get larger groups than just date night couples. For example, you can get larger groups, and these are people that already are in whatever the equivalent of a pandemic group is.
Right.
They've already swapped all them germs. They're not exposing themselves to any new ones by doing your escape room. There's no squick there. So there's your team. That's a good place to target. Offering good experiences to them is definitely better, especially post-pandemic, targeting dating couples where you get 2 per room, or just random people, try to cobble them together in an awkward situation.
Yeah.
Sound good? Well, on that note, revisiting the question of the week, we had some interesting suggestions. I noticed Jape said he'd support a Patreon.
Yes. Bill Ritchie said shirts and stickers always
Got plenty
sell.
of those. HauntWeeklyStore.com. Got lots of those.
And Tim Fowler said he would love travel mug.
A travel mug. Okay, I'll see if that's possible. It's a good idea. I had not actually checked that one, I don't think, so I'll check into that. I do not know if that is even possible with this system, but I will check. Well, thank you, everyone, for the comments. I think we've had a great discussion in the chat. I mean,
Yeah.
seeing the gamut of opinions on escape rooms. Once again, great conversation. You all are amazing at this. Posting differing opinions without attacking each other.
Yes.
What's going on?
Nothing. I just hit a wrong button.
No, fine. You're allowed to hit wrong buttons. I hit them all the time.
I know.
Well, on that note, everyone, thank you very much for spending the past near hour with us. This has been episode 275 of Haunt Weekly, talking about Has the Room Escape Bubble Burst? For more episodes, check us out at hauntweekly.com or Haunt Weekly on Twitter, Haunt Weekly on Facebook, youtube.com/HauntWeekly is our YouTube channel. All the previous episodes are available there, easy access, anytime, day or night. You can also find us at iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, wherever finer podcasts are sold. Until next time, I'm Jonathan.
I'm Crystal.
And we'll see you all next week for episode 276, divisible by 4. It means it's time to do
The news.
We will see you all then.